streaming.
Are we streaming?
I just double check on YouTube. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if you'd like to start.
Right. Well, good evening and welcome to all the councillors in attendance at this full council meeting. We're live streaming via YouTube as we usually do, so the public can watch, and good evening to you if you are looking at us by television. I can confirm that there are no fire precautions taking place this evening, and therefore, if you do hear a fire warning, please exit the way you came in, and the assembly point is outside the Chinese takeaway. And I'll remind everyone that this meeting is conducted in accordance with our standing orders. We welcome public participation during the designated item on the agenda, for which you will have already booked via the officers if you wish to speak. However, once the meeting formally begins, public interjections will not be permitted. So we'll move first on to the agenda item, and that is public question time. Have we had any members of the public wishing to speak?
None have requested to speak on the items on the agenda.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 94, which is apologies of absence.
Apologies received from Councillors Pearce and Stannard. Councillor Everard absent.
Right, thank you. We'll move on to item number 95 now, which is declarations of interest. I'll remind the councillors it's either personal or pecuniary interest in what's happening on items on the agenda. So I need to ask you, each of the councillors, have they any interests they wish to disclose at this time? Councillor Turnbull.
I may have an interest in the village green policy.
Right.
Potential, I think it's worded.
Okay.
I'd be the same if that's the case. But
Right. We'll ask that when we get to the item for discussion. On that basis, I'll move now on to item number 96, which is the co-option of councillors. Now,
Mr. Chairman, apologies if I may interject. Just had confirmation from Councillor Everard that he will no longer be able to make the meeting tonight. So apologies to be noted.
thank you for that. I'll start by making sure that all councillors have received the information in the packs sent to them and have had the ability to read and understand it. So that's acknowledged, that's good. The item number 96, which is the co-option of councillors, as you know, we have 3 vacancies where we can co-opt people onto the council. And that's in accordance with our co-option policy and standing orders. Now, I won't go through all of that because you've all had the information to read and understand. But what we will do at this stage is that I'm going to move to item 5 first under the co-option of councillors. You've all seen the item 4, which is the format of how the co-option policy determines the application of the co-option. Item 5 puts out a process of co-option, and this is due to the significant number of the applicants and 3 vacancies to be considered as part of the co-option. And the voting process in practice is difficult to administer in the existing format. So what I'd like to do is ask you for a proposer if you wish to adopt the modified process under item 5 of the co-option of councillors. So you've all had chance to read it. Is there a proposer for that? Councillor Vickers has proposed,
I'm happy to propose that, Chairman.
and Councillor Knott has seconded.
So you need to
We
go
need
for
a vote on that, so will you please vote in accordance with that
Those in
modified process? So those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And against? 1 against.
Any abstentions?
Any abstentions? No. So we've agreed that we will use the modified process on this occasion for the voting of the candidates for the 3 vacant co-option. We have received applications from 7, well, we received applications from 9 people in total. Unfortunately, 2 have withdrawn, and we're now down to a list of 7 candidates. You've got the list of candidates in front of you. How this will now work, I'll hand over to Justin just to explain, or to Julie to explain how the voting process will work.
To start with, we will now address each presentation will be done by ballot. So all the names are in this envelope and the chairman will select a name and call that person forward to do their presentation. After the presentation, each candidate will be asked, the councillors will be given the chance to ask questions of that candidate before the next person is called forward. After all the candidates have given their presentation, the voting process will be done via ballot paper, like this, where each councillor will be asked to nominate 3 candidates for the position of councillor with signature, which will then come back to the officers to process. If we have a clear majority, which is 6 or more, then those councillors will be co-opted on. If there is occasion where we have insufficient numbers, then another ballot will take place until we have sufficient numbers to get the co-options through.
Right, thank you for that, Julie. If you have the envelope. Now, you'll appreciate that having 7 potential candidates, we've got to make sure that it is as fair as we can possibly make it, and we're trying for, in terms of transparency, to make sure that works for all. So I'd like to invite John Potts up first to give a presentation. Thank you.
If you take a seat in either of the seats, and when you're ready to speak, just push the button on the microphone and it will glow red.
I'll remind you that we've asked for a maximum of 5 minutes, but I'm sure you'll be able to make sure you get within the 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is John Potts, and I'm here because I believe my skills, experience, and commitment will enable me to be an effective representative for the village and make a valuable contribution to the Parish Council. I've lived in Southwater for 5 years, so a relative newbie. However, as a stay-at-home dad of 3 children who have had a big chunk of their growing up in Southwater, I feel incredibly connected to the village. I've got to know a lot of people in a short time through involvement through local schools, scouting and sports clubs, and part-time work through Horsham Sports Services. Here I've been running sports events for schools, homeschool children and those with special needs. Quality of life in the village for everyone is enormously important to me. The Parish Council has a critical role in protecting and enhancing this, and it would be a real honour to serve. I like to think I have some useful skills and experience from my former professional life to bring to the role. I served for 23 years in the Royal Navy Logistics Branch, where I gained formal training and practical experience in leadership, project management, events organisation and delivery, budgets and accounting, and served as an equality and diversity advisor, as well as having extensive responsibilities for the welfare of personnel. These are transferable skills, and after first becoming a stay-at-home dad, I put them in use in the service of my community, which at the time was in Northern Ireland. And this was as a voluntary role as part of the International Red Cross, coordinating refugee services, including supporting vulnerable families in navigating asylum, housing and benefits. I also got involved in delivering local festivals and was a lead for Belfast's first cross-community food festival. In Northern Ireland, bringing people together across political and religious divides has always been challenging, and I gained valuable experience in this. My experience, professional and community-based, has taught me to be of the importance of teamwork, unity, community engagement, and quality of communication to successful public-facing organisations. I am outward-looking, inclusive and passionate about community engagement and ensuring Southwater is a great place for everyone. If selected, I will take a considered and proactive approach to addressing local issues, listen to residents' concerns and advocate for solutions that work for the community. I would wholeheartedly support and collaborate with other councillors and adhere to the Code of Conduct. Thank you for considering my application.
Well, thank you very much, John. I'll first start opening up the floor to the councillors here. Would any of you like to ask John any questions that you have about his application? No? All right, okay. Well, yes, I thought you were about to ask.
Chairman, I was just going to ask, John, what do you think are the main issues currently in Southwater? What would you see as the main sort of concerns out here?
I definitely say that the house building issues, obviously conflicting with neighbouring councils, and that's a big hot potato currently at the moment. Been involved watching various meetings for that, and that's been a contentious issue, I know. And also, obviously, you've got devolution coming up. That's a long-term plan that needs to be addressed now, because, well, it could be over a couple of years, and that will probably involve a number of changes. And I know that the executive officer educated me on the issues of the crossovers of responsibilities and what will be involved there. And obviously, one close to my heart at the moment is obviously the football clubs. How are we going to address the space that they need? I think those are the three ones that stick out for me anyway. Thank you.
Right. Would any other councillors like to ask any questions? No? Well, I've got a couple for you, John. The one that, as you know, when we look for councillors to join the council, there are things that must be essential that you have, and it was good to hear what you had in terms of your experiences and your aims to serve the community, which is in effect what we are. We're public servants and we're here to serve the community. I'd like to just ask, in one of them is the ability and willingness to work closely with other members and to maintain good working relationships with all members of staff. And that's a critical part of working collaboratively as a council. You've got to work with other people. And do you see that would ever cause you a difficulty?
No, not at all. Like I've said, with Northern Ireland, that was probably the biggest challenging roles I had, really, as a refugee support worker and working with different communities with strong views either side. And as you can imagine, in Northern Ireland, it was very heated in sometimes.
Yes.
And just to forget that afterwards, after those quite heated debates, being able to be friends at the end of the day. And I've spoken later on about Northern Ireland, but I was with people that were released from the Good Friday Agreement, and being an ex-military guy, that was quite a shock to be involved with. But actually, we're all human, we've all got strong views, and we got on really well, actually. It was surprising. So I'm open to different views and getting on and leaving that at the table, basically.
Well, thank you very much. Are there any other questions for John Potts? No? Well, thank you very much, John. I'll now call the next candidate. Chris Woodrow. Good evening, Chris.
Okay. So, yes, good stuff. Thank you. I'd like to give you a short summary about my background and kind of what I think I could bring to the council. So, I've lived in the village since 2013 and in the Horsham district since 2009. I've currently got children attending both local primary schools, so I've got a good kind of connection to the village there. So, I applied to join the council as from talking to a few councillors, both parish and district. They said I could be an asset to the council if I would consider applying. So my background's engineering. So I've worked in a variety of industries, aerospace, defence, automotive. So I've got a kind of keen eye for data and kind of process. So I believe I can bring this skill set to the council, especially when it comes to reviewing and understanding information in kind of tight deadlines prior to making decisions. I also firmly believe that organisations of all sizes benefit from a diversity of opinion and the ability to debate and disagree in a kind of collaborative way. Organisations that don't freely debate and enable kind of dissenting views to be discussed and the change of positions, they run the real risk of failure. There's specific examples I could cite. You've got failed products and potentially catastrophic loss of life, which you can link back to basically decision makers not enabling dissenting opinions and to be discussed and kind of suffer from groupthink. So considering the decisions the council makes, they have real impact in people's lives. This is critical. With the village expanding, devolution coming, and more responsibilities potentially coming under the remit, we need to make sure you have people on board that are able to collaboratively challenge decisions and kind of enable that discussion, have that kind of what-if mindset. So because of this, I believe that good balance I have of a kind of critical and questioning mindset, but also an open-mindedness to change my position if the evidence points a certain way, I think would be a benefit to the council. So in conclusion, I believe I'm someone who can analyse data, fully and respectfully debate it and make an informed decision, and I hope my application is duly considered on these merits. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Well, I would like to ask any councillors if they have any questions for Chris Woodrow. No, oh, you've escaped again. What I would like to do, though, Chris, before you leave, and one of the things that you were saying is working collaboratively with people. Do you see your ability and willingness to work closely and collaboratively with other members and to maintain good working relationships with all members of staff? Do you see that as an obstacle or something you can work with?
I mean, I can work with it. There's nothing wrong with having a professional disagreement over a topic with someone, but still maintaining a good personal relationship. So that's something that I deal with in work all day. You're allowed to disagree with people, providing you do it in a collaborative way and kind of discuss a topic. So, yeah.
Right, okay. Well, if there are no further questions, thank you very much, Chris.
No problem.
John Mace.
Thank you very much,
John.
Chairman.
Yes.
This opportunity to tell you about my background and persuade you, hopefully, that I can make a good councillor. My background is at sea. I was with the Merchant Navy, which I'll just explain for a second what the Merchant Navy does, because not many people actually understand it. They're the people that put the meat on your table. They bring the meat from New Zealand. They bring your cars from Japan. Without them, you won't have the comfortable life we all enjoy. But I was with them for 12 years, rising to the qualification, not rank, of Master Mariner. After which it was clearly I wasn't going to get promoted in P&O where I was at the time. So I left and tried to find a job locally. And I actually found a job in CW Carbide, which used to be on the Southwater Industrial Estate. So I had a job with them for, I think it was 14 months. In that time I managed to find a job in London, which was more to my taste, shall we say. And I became a chartering superintendent for an Italian shipping company. And I was loading grain ships in Duluth, in the Great Lakes, and bringing them across to Italy. A lot of teamwork involved in that. You're responsible for making sure fuel was on board the ship, stevedores arrive when they should do, and all the rest of it. So a lot of coordination, a lot of work in that regard. I did that for about 2 3/4 years. I could see their firm was folding. And a chap on the train that I got friendly with invited me to join his new company, which is a company called Box IT. They made computer solutions for the Lloyd's underwriters. And he wanted me to become the technical manager, which was a grand title for something I'd never done. But he thought I knew computers well enough to be an asset. So I joined them, and I stayed with them for 25 years, I think it was. So I didn't do too badly, in the middle of which we did the Year 2000 project and a few other things we achieved. Then another person on the train. Trains are very useful. I started looking for another job, and he asked what I wanted. So he said, I think I might have something for you. I got a phone call that morning, an interview that afternoon, and a job that evening. So it just goes to show the old PALS network really works. And that was a job I stayed at for 10 years, I think it was. I was there from 2006 to 2015, so 9 or 10 years. And that was with the international group of P&I clubs. A P&I club, for those that don't know, is a form of insurance, a not-for-profit insurance arrangement that ship owners involve themselves in to insure those risks that are too long tail or too hard to quantify, and therefore too high a premium to insure in the open market. So they enter their ships in clubs of their choice, of which there's 13 principally, and they insure their risks as a self-insurance basis. So that can be quite costly, but it equally can be very cost-effective. So a ship owner can be in the unique position of getting premium back at the end of the year. Equally, you can be in the other position where we go and ask for more premium. So it's a as you win, tails you lose. But it's a very, very cost-effective solution. And I was with them for, as I say, 10 years. In that time, I produced a system, a computerized system, to replace the previously paper-based system that they had. And it was a glorious job. I loved it and left it at the age of 65 when I retired. I should say in the working years of my time with Claire, we got involved with starting up the Stammerhand Amenity Association, which was, I think we did 83 or 87. Do you remember, Claire? 86, okay. And from an early stage, we were all pretty much officers of the committee. I took over the role of chairman. I think I took over in early 90s, and I can't shed it. I'm still chairman of that committee, although we don't meet that often. We used to be quite active, and you used to see us quite regularly here at meetings, pleading some case or another. More recently, we haven't been so active. There haven't been the subjects to us to involve ourselves in, other than probably water neutrality. That's been the burning issue. And Andrew Bardo of Keep Southwater Green, I think it is, he's actually been pushing that particular issue. But,
I'm going to have to ask you to round up, John,
Okay.
because you're nearly up to 5
The last thing I would
minutes.
say is that I've been heavily involved with the Southwater Parish Council on the neighbourhood plan, which has taken a lot of my time, where I've been pretty much as a data collector. I think that's probably the right term for me. Where I went out and did the research to back up the policies that we were developing. So that's me in a nutshell, really.
Right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, thank you very much, John.
Happy
Thank
to take
you.
questions, either here or outside the meeting. I don't mind which.
Yes. Would any councillors like to ask John anything about his speech? Yes. Councillor Haddon.
Hi, John. What skill set do you think you would bring to the council?
I think probably, I always say about seafarers, their prime qualification is a jack of all trades but a master of none. And I would say that's the key asset I bring. I turn my hand to anything and make a reasonably good job of it, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert at anything. So that would be my answer, if that's acceptable.
All right. Thank you. Would anybody, other councillors, like to ask any questions? No? I'd just like to ask the same question of you again. And as I said, this was a competency that is essential to the role. One is public servant. And although you've given examples in your working life of it, but your ability and willingness to work closely with other members and to maintain good working relationships with all members of staff, do you see that as
I see that
something that?
It's been a requirement for every job I've had, especially the last job. So I don't see that as a problem. I do actually agree with the last speaker who said that there's nothing wrong with having a firm opinion and arguing that firm opinion, maybe which is different to somebody else's firm opinion. But providing you do it in a sensible and polite way, then I think that's desirable, really.
Right. Well, if there are no other questions for John, thank you very much.
Thanks very much indeed, Chairman.
Thank you. And the next candidate to speak is Malcolm Briley. Good evening, Malcolm.
Thank you, Chair, and councillors for your time and consideration tonight. Having submitted my CV and covering letter, I'll avoid repeating what's in there that you've had the chance to look at. I'm lucky enough to have had 2 careers, essentially, one in financial services and then one running a business in Southwater. I previously inquired about being co-opted. And I guess the question is, why did I apply now, and what can I offer to the council? Having looked into it last year, unfortunately, when people talk of the 2-year age gap being great when having children, what they fail to say is that you can have GCSEs and A-levels at the same time. So that was really fun this year. So we've got through that. My son's going off to uni, hopefully on Friday, freeing me up more. So working and living in the village, attending meetings is never going to be a problem for me, whether it be during the day or during the evening. I've grown up in Horsham, lived here virtually all of my life, but my wife and I chose to move to Southwater in 2010 to raise our family. That's something that was probably one of the best moves I ever made. I love the village and wouldn't dream of living anywhere else. It actually upsets me when people say so many negative things about an area, especially Horsham as well, and they don't realise actually how lovely it is. I'm fortunate in that I do. We've got a great sense of community in the village, and that was shown during the pandemic. For me, community is important. It's the interactions between people in the village, and there's so many community groups doing great things. And I think SPC has the ability to influence many of those and to assist those, the running of the village, whether it be the youth group or the Christmas fair, which is always great. I don't want to join the council to make changes, but instead to ensure that Southwater remains a lovely place to live for everyone, and that the council continues to encourage that strong sense of community and togetherness. The mental health needs and well-being of individuals is something that's always been of a key concern of mine. I'm putting myself forward not to implement my own agenda, simply to offer some careful stewardship and to represent residents. Why do I believe I'm suitable? I believe I have a number of highly transferable skills, which are on my CV, and may benefit the parish council. Problem solving and critical thinking are something that I have to do every day in work. Never one to panic. If immediate action isn't needed, I like to gather information, seek advice. If others have the experience, consult them, consider the options, knock on impacts, and then make a decision. Measure twice, cut once is something that I live by. Also, the realisation that sometimes there are no wins and it's lose-lose. And in business, that's often the case, and it's how you lose least. So it's navigating your way through that. Being something of a geek, self-confessed, my work always requires me to interpret detailed directives and laws. Only today I was looking at new EU directives on EUDR, which is about deforestation. Great fun. Planning has always been an area of interest to me because it combines laws and regulatory frameworks, which I worked in financial services for 13 years and have done the last 20. Facing the sad loss of Phillips Field, aware of assets of community value, I raised the potential of applying during the councillor's surgery, which I was really pleased that the councillors saw through on that, and unfortunately HDC declined it. I will often be one of the few YouTubers viewing the session, so when you see the 3 or 4 viewing, whether it be HDC or SPC, if it interests me, then I'll be looking in. I'm aware of Southwater's neighbourhood plan and the details of it, and being the geek, I have an understanding of MPPF, HDPF, SNOWS, which I've been looking at in detail, and a number of other matters. It's not an in-depth understanding. I have a broad level, but can dive into any area. I've had an interest in local government, which I mentioned in my covering letter from a young age. My interests has given me a broad insight into the tiers of local government. I understand the responsibilities of the parish council, county council, and HDC. If co-opted, I look forward to the opportunity to learn from all the experienced councillors, because I will be completely new to being in this chamber.
You're coming up to your 5 minutes.
Yeah. Local government reorganisation is a change that concerns me and will impact on our village and way of life. I believe it's a key time for the village and for the parish council, and I would hope that I could bring some skill set to that when looking at how it impacts on the village. Particular concerns are the country park, which we all love, the heart of the village, and if faraway unitary authority were to, say, introduce parking charges in Lintott Square, how that would negatively impact. In summary, I'm not looking for my own gain, but got a lovely village, and let's keep it that way.
Okay, thank you very much, Malcolm. Right, again, I'll open the questions up to councillors. Have you any questions for Malcolm Brierley?
Just one, Chair. Good evening, Malcolm.
Hello.
You say that you're into teamwork and working with people. Do you actually attend an office where you run a team, or do you work from home?
Yes, I work in Oakhurst Business Park. Got a business, 2 business units there. Have a team in there. I've worked in teams and been a team manager and part of teams all of my career.
Okay, so you understand the importance of working and fitting into a team, and
Teamwork is everything. I'm aware that I'm co-opted. I'm the junior member of the team, and I'm the new person that needs to learn and has a lot to learn. So, yes, I would welcome the opportunity to learn from others and work with them.
thank you.
Have any other councillors got any questions? No, I'll just, and I'll pick up on that again. It's one of the essential things that is required is the ability and willingness to work closely with other members and to maintain a good working relationship with all members and staff. And do you see any problems in that?
No, not at all. I welcome the opportunity to work with everyone. I've worked in a number of organisations, and I'd like to think that I've always been thought of as a team worker.
Right, okay. Well, in the light of no other further questions, Malcolm, thank you very much. If you'd like to take a seat.
Thank you, councillors, for your time.
And the next candidate is Malcolm Newman.
Mark.
Or is that Mark Newman? Sorry. Yes, yes, I do need that. Mark Newman.
I've been called worse.
My
I'm sure. My wife would probably agree with me behind me. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Good evening, Chair. And yes, thank you. My name is Mark, and I'm standing. I wrote standing. I'm actually sitting before you today because I'm interested in serving Southwater as a parish councillor. I moved into Southwater in 2019. Before that, I was born and raised in Horsham, so I've been in the local area pretty much all my life. At 35 years old, I bring both energy and a fresh perspective to the council. If I'm brutally honest between you and me, I would be very wet behind the ears on this sort of thing. But I do actually see that as a strength. A parish council, after all, should represent the whole community, both the wisdom of experience and the ideas of younger generations. I'd like to be that bridge between those perspectives, ensuring that the decisions we make serve today, both the present and the future of Southwater. My professional background is in sales, where I have spent close to 2 decades in high-pressure environments. I worked for a market leader for the last 4 years in the building sector, right now handling close to £10 million in retail, spread out across 150 business accounts. That experience has taught me how to listen carefully, communicate clearly, and find practical solutions, even when tensions are high. I'm confident in public speaking, as well as working as part of a team and keeping a cool head when it really counts. Those are skills I believe would benefit the parish council in its day-to-day responsibilities and in addressing the challenges that we face as a growing village. As many of you will know, I'm father to 4, including to a 7-year-old son who suffers from autism and global developmental delay. Because of him, I have a deep and genuine interest in improving SEN opportunities here in Southwater. I know firsthand how important it is for families to feel supported, for children to have resources they need, and for our village to be a place where everyone, regardless of ability, can thrive. If elected, I would like to make it a priority to explore ways we can enhance inclusion, accessibility, and community support for families like mine. Of course, no councillor works alone. I believe strongly in teamwork and collaboration. I am fortunate to have the encouragement of my family, who support me fully in this decision to stand for council. With their backing, my commitment is not just an individual, it is shared. We want to contribute to Southwater's growth, well-being and a sense of community. I'm sitting here today because I care about this village, about its people and about its future. I want to contribute my energy, my professional experience and my personal perspective to help Southwater continue to flourish. Thank you, everyone.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Mark, for that. I'll open the ability for councillors to raise any questions to Mark. Yes, Councillor Haddon.
It sounds like you've got a very busy life going on there with 4 children. So do you work full-time as well?
I do work full-time, yes. I'm fully aware of the commitments that would be
you feel
potentially
able?
be needed. Yes, it's something that was definitely discussed, you know, as you said, 4 children, 2 dogs, 4 cats. It's a bit of a madhouse.
So
but
you want to escape, basically?
Pretty much, yes. Any opportunity, be it running or, you know, my wife wonders why I disappear for 2 hours at a time, and it's normally because I'm down the pub, but don't tell her that, I'm running. It's one of those things where we've, you know, slight, going back a little bit more, we had our first child at 19. Obviously, it wasn't planned. We had to grow up very quickly. So for the past, 17 years nearly, we've had to, we did it all back to front, had kids, then had to create a career for ourselves, and eventually, 7 years ago, buying our own home in Southwater. We did it the wrong way round, but as the kids are getting a little bit older now, the youngest is 7, so we do feel like we're getting some sort of life back now. And, I do, a couple of times I've said to my wife, do I really, really want more? Not just this, just generally. And she said, well, you'll be bored otherwise. We're a household that goes 100 miles an hour. And that's been the same for nearly 20 years. So, yes, it'd be a lot, but I'm, used to it. And I think I can add value to this. And obviously be willing to learn, fully aware that this would be a new adventure for me and a new chapter. And, it would be great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you for that, Mark. I'll just ask again so that we clarify the essential need of your ability to work closely with other members and to maintain good working relationships with all members. Those are other councillors and staff. And how do you see that?
I suppose it's, I'm generally, I'm always one of those people that likes to be liked. I'm never one that likes to sort of cause friction for the sake of it. But again, as other people have said, if something's worth telling, if it's something I don't necessarily agree with, then I would feel the need to put my feelings across, of course. But no, fully appreciate that everyone is a team, and as a team we can work together. Again, with my sales role, at times I do work alone at times, but I also do work as part of a team throughout the country. My day-to-day basis is going into rooms with people I don't really know and being liked. So yeah, it does go well, and I like to think I'm pretty good at my job. I haven't been sacked, so I'm still here.
Well, look, thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you, guys.
That's
Cheers.
been interesting to hear. Thank you. The next candidate is Paul Nichols. Paul, would you like to come up?
Well, first of all, thank you.
Paul, there's a button on there that if you press it should light up the microphone. Yeah, just.
Oh,
there we are. We can hear you now.
There you go. I'm not very good at buttons. Anyway, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you for accepting my application. About myself, I spent 9 years in the Army, Royal Engineers, involved in 2 years of that on active service. Obviously, working in troops and squadrons, it involved teamwork. It involved a measure of responsibility, a lot of respect, for the seniors, and also a lot of respect for the people you work with, because we all depend on each other. And by the Army, I learned the virtues of rice pudding, baked beans, Yorkshire pudding, and roast beef, my favorites. Why I talk about food? I love food. I was born in a village. Village life is no secret, and I enjoy village life. My main passion, really and truly, if we call it a passion, is education. And I find a problem which is shared by people all over the world is the youth problem. I've had the privilege of working on a lot of initiatives with the Met. I myself and Stacey were the people who filmed the Lewisham Met's training program. We filmed that. I worked with the Met. I worked with Trident, looking at gun crime and addressing issues involving gun crime. But I also, one of the cases I remember very strongly is working with a young man who was shot 8 times on a Broadwater Farm estate. And I was chosen to help his family. And what sticks in my mind more than anything else is the fact that when I went to talk with him and some of his colleagues, I met with a group of youngsters, and the average age was about, 20. And I saw youngsters as young as 9 years old carrying guns. And that shocked me. Why it shocked me is because those youngsters knew how to work a gun. They didn't know a lot about maths and English. And I've always maintained that the way through life, the best thing that we can do for these youngsters is to give them a proper education and a level of understanding about themselves, respect about their community. Also, I find that in a lot of cases, not only don't a lot of children understand things, but we ourselves as adults forget that we were once children. And somewhere in our history, there's always this issue. We knew how to put the world to rights, and we always thought that what we knew was best. And I think it's very important not to forget that when we're dealing with youngsters, and to remember that we were also there. Life is not without its funny moments. There's a lot of things that happened. I remember one thing in particular when a certain council was dealing with a certain group of youths. And these youths were stealing cars, they were stealing parts from cars, meaning in fun. And the council decided, well, seeing that they were that interested in cars, they would send them on a course, cars. And they did. And, you know, they were great, they were good on scores, and they beat all the college students, everything. But at that time, they were nicking Ford Cortinas. So they were on this course, and they came up top of the course. And while they were on the course, the car theft stopped. But when they came out of the course, the car breakers began. This time it was sports cars, BMWs, all the expensive cars. What this course had done is give them the expertise to upgrade their skills.
Paul, I'm going to have to ask you to quickly wind up your speech, please.
Right, no. Yeah. Well, in conclusion, what I think, living in an environment whereby we all have been through a lot of situations that these guys are now going through, I think it's important to us to be mindful that we were once there. Not did the things that they're doing now, but we were once at that stage in life. And to make our decisions. Yeah. And I love soap water.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Paul. I will ask councillors if they have any questions for Paul. Councillor Haddon again. Good.
Hi, what skills do you feel that you would be able to bring to the council?
At the moment, I'm on a degree course, which involve, I've done modules in sociology, criminology, creative writing. My skill base, I would say I owe it all to the Army. Well, not all of it, but most of it to the Army. The good parts and the bad parts as well. I think respect for authority. Working together, understanding that we're all part of a group, and the fact is we have to make a contribution to that in order that that group can survive, and not just take but give sometimes as well.
Right. Thank you for
Thanks.
that, Paul. Would any other councillors like to raise a question? No, I'll just ask it again, and you touched on this when you were responding to that, and it's essential that prospective councillors have the ability and willingness to work closely with other members and to maintain good working relationships with all other councillors and staff. Do you see that something of a problem, or do you think that is something that you can work with?
But that's not a problem at all. I think that is necessary. As the saying goes, no one is an island, and you have, whether you like it or not, to be willing to work with other people, listen to their views as well, and also make some sort of contribution
Lovely.
to the environment that you're in.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. We thank you for that. If you'd like to retake your seat, and I think we've got our last candidate now.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. And our last candidate is Philippa French. Yes, good evening, Philippa.
Good evening. Thank you very much for letting me be here tonight. What do you want to know? Right. Most of the things that I want to say have already been said. I am a Horsham born and bred girl. I've been in Southwater since 1987. My son went to the local school and only just left the village in March to move to Brisbane to be a police officer. I'm now at the age, unlike Mark, who's very young, where I'm semi-retired, so I've got time to give back to the village. And I feel that unless you help out and do stuff, things won't improve. And I'm desperate that the village stays as a good community and it doesn't outgrow itself, which it's looking very like it's going to. So I think unless you put yourself forward to try and help make a difference, nothing's going to change. My background is graphic design and print, which I've done since I left school. I've worked in various industries within it. I worked with the motor industry for 6.5 years, so I used to deal with Mercedes, Nissan, Honda, and it was all with their press and PR. So we used to do the car launches. I've always worked with small companies, so I've always been to do with managing and sorting things out. So what could I bring? I work well with people, I listen to people, and I try and understand what is required. Because I work with a lot of businesses, I understand a little bit of everything, but not how it all works. So I think bringing forward to the council, I would be able to hopefully bring some clarity, some strategy, and what I've always been having to work with is budgets. Running my own business, you have to be able to do everything. But I just really want to give back, and as you can see from my CV, I was with the first after-school club, I helped with the first skate park, I also was on the committee for the youth club when it started, so that's me.
Lovely, thank you very much, Philippa. I would like to ask any councillors if you've got any questions for Philippa. Councillor Watkins.
Well, good evening, Philippa.
Good evening.
You made a comment to make sure the village does not outgrow itself. Can you elaborate on what you mean by that?
Well, when I came here, Cedar Drive was still being built. So, and that was quite big. We had Blake's Farm, which I didn't even know the extent of it because it was sort of out of it and it didn't interrupt everybody's life. It was fine. But with all of these little buildings that have been going on, parking, for instance. I know it's not a parish council issue or a Horsham District Council, it's West Sussex, isn't it? Highways.
It varies.
It varies. It's like when they were building one of the estates coming into Worthing Road, sometimes there used to be 25 cars down the main stretch, buses and everything getting down there, very dangerous. And I don't understand why things aren't put in place to alleviate the people that live in the village the stress of having all this building work done. I don't understand it. I would like to understand more the processes and how to make things a little bit easier for people to negotiate. We're going to have houses, but can we have houses built that don't impact us so much? Is there a way around it? I don't know.
All right. Thank you for that. Would any other councillors like to? Councillor Willis.
Good evening, Philippa.
Hello.
What top 3 issues do you think we're facing as South Walter Parish Council over the next couple of years?
Definitely housing, and it doesn't help with the golf and fitness. Schools, because I think if the golf and fitness goes ahead, and I know Mill A is going to go co-ed, but where are kids going to go? Because we're still growing. That's going to be put there. We can't ship them out to Burgess Hill. We need to make sure that we are looking after as much as we can within the confines of what we got, our kids. Green space is I'm quite passionate about. Seeing, I don't particularly want to have to be connected to Christ Hospital, but it looks that that's the way it's going to go. But how can we do it in a way that doesn't impact and upset us too much? Change is inevitable, but can we change it in a nice way? But I think they're really my main issues.
Thank you for that. Any other councillors? No? I'll just finish off, and again, it's one of the essential competencies that we have is the ability and willingness to work with other members, maintain good working relationships with other councillors and other members of staff. And how do you see that with your aims and your wants?
I've never had any trouble working with any people, so to speak, because the companies I work with, they often adopt me as part of their staff anyway. And I think that you've got to listen to what people say. I think listening is one of the things that's most important. But then you also have to have your opinions and you have to have a discussion. Because nothing will move forward unless you are openly moving forward. So maybe some antagonising discussions might happen, but that's all part of it. It's part of the process.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Philippa. If there's nobody else with any questions, then please retake your seat. Thank you. What I would like to say is that this is probably the first time we've had so many applicants for prospective co-option of council members. It's not something that people race to do, and as you can see, it's a fairly exciting life for councillors. And I say that, but it does mean that you're there to make a difference for your community. You want to actively make sure that the best things happen for your community. You're looking at it for a sort of a wider view of things, because some things don't necessarily mean that some people will be happier over certain decisions than other, but you're doing it for the greater good of the community. So you've now, the 7 of you have posed with a big problem, because we've never had this problem before, in that we've now got to decide. So I'm going to hand you over to Justin, who will now explain the process.
So just a few other comments to make. Firstly, I can confirm the eligibility of all of the applicants based on the on their signed declaration, so they all meet the legal requirements. Councillors, when completing the ballot papers, you will select up to 3, not more than 3, so up to 3. There's no obligation to select 3, but that's just what's in our policy. Other thing to bear in mind, also, hopefully you've all read the briefing note, as you've confirmed, but just consider the person specification and the outline in Appendix C. So all of the applications you've reviewed ahead of this meeting, and considering the speeches they've given and the responses, have a think about what are the most important things this council will need to deal with over the next 2 years, running up to May 2027, and apply each of the candidates to that person specification. You'll see there's a column for essential and a column for desirable qualities, skills, experience, knowledge. When filling out the ballot paper, please write your name at the bottom, and please also sign by each vote. This is an open ballot and it can be inspected, so please make sure you put your name at the bottom, and wherever you put a vote, a signature by it. If you're concerned about your signatures being shared with public, if they are inspected, then we will redact your signatures, but please sign by each vote. Lastly, I would just add just a technicality. There are 9 councillors present here, so a majority would count as 5. I don't believe I have anything further to add. The process is outlined in the briefing note. You've all received a copy and in our as proposed and approved. So it's the modified process that we're applying, which is just a slight modification on the co-option policy. Once the vote has been concluded, then myself and our Assistant Executive Officer will go through the next steps with the successful candidates, which will I'll provide guidance to as and when.
Right, thank you for that.
Are there any questions?
Do any councillors have any questions they want to ask before these ballot sheets are issued? No? Right, okay, so if we can issue the ballot sheets.
Whilst the ballot papers are being handed out, one thing I will add actually, as we have got 7 applicants for 3 vacancies, I do encourage all of you that aren't successful, that if you are genuinely interested in being a councillor, please stick around, because things change. There will be other ways for you to get involved with the council. Whilst it might not be as a co-opted councillor, you can join some of the working groups we've got. If you're passionate about climate change, we've got a climate action group. We've got other projects that will be coming up. So if you are interested, whether you can come to attend to meetings, keep engaging with us, whether it's with myself, our Assistant Executive Officer, our Community Engagement Officer, and if there are projects or anything that is of interest, then engage with the council, because things change over time, and we've got current councillors here who weren't successful the first time they applied, but are now councillors here. So please bear that in mind, and ultimately don't be discouraged. If you are interested, we'll be happy to try and get you involved however we can.
Yes, I'd like to reiterate that, because, as I've said, it's unusual for us to get so many active candidates, and it really is something that, if you want to make a difference, you've got to be part of it. It doesn't necessarily mean that not being chosen or not being elected at this stage but as Justin said, things change, and in May 2027, we will have to restand for our positions again, and that will allow other people to put themselves forward. So please don't get disheartened. And I'm really pleased with seeing the interest of you all and your passion for wanting to, make Southwater a great place to live.
Mr. Chairman, could you ask all the councillors in a moment if they've completed their forms and ready to hand them in?
Right. Yes. Have you all now completed your forms? Should they be?
Take that time.
You'll take them. Right.
Give it a couple more moments.
Have you?
Has everyone had the means to?
Has everybody completed their forms? Yes. Right. Okay. Yes, you think. Yes, yeah. I think we'd have some music playing in the background. Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's encouraging that there are so many people here wanting to be part of it.
I think it feels funny sitting up here because I'm usually hiding.
Yeah. You tend to be on camera more.
Yeah, I know. That's why I like hiding.
Did you manage to pick up your son?
Oh, yes, I think my daughter lost her glasses, so she couldn't drive home. Got to drive and pick her up. Then go and get my son's girlfriend, which is why she's probably not 5 to 7. I've no dinner. I've nothing. They've lost her.
Let's see if we can.
This was. I've just finished counting. Lost count now. I'll come back to that. Just tally these up.
Well, we're actually stood for the election in their normal and that was only because we had one extra person. And that one extra person didn't get elected because they moved on.
Yeah, so it's missing one.
To stay on the parish council.
9 and 8. That should be
So I've probably the father on the cafe. So we've got
two there.
I remember the last meeting she attended before she was up. But every time she came to the like, whoever's next to her, she couldn't get put down.
It's
No idea
9
what she was supposed
councillors,
to do.
private majority, 2. John, John, if they would
I've got another 15 minutes to go do that.
Can we just check who the one that is
Nikki, Nicola, Graham Turnbull,
Yeah.
and then I've got blank.
Derek.
It's Derek, isn't it?
Is that yours?
Trust me to not be able to.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Right, so do you want to?
Yes. Yeah,
Sophie.
Nine. I think we need to say the number. These are the tallies. So you're clear.
As I explained, the voting slips are there. So if they're there, if people wish to examine them.
Not quite.
No,
They're open to inspection.
they're open to
I'd have to
inspection.
redact the
Yes,
signatures
yeah.
first.
But the signatures would have to be redacted. But it is just for transparency and ensuring that it's a fair way of voting. And I'll announce these, and then not in any particular order, and I'll announce the 3 successful candidates that are co-opted, that have chosen to be co-opted as
Have a majority.
and have a majority of votes. And that is John Potts, Philippa French, and Malcolm Briley. So congratulations to you 3. Now, I will now suspend standing orders. That means that we're not in a meeting, because the next stage that we have to do is get you to go through a process of co-option. So if you would like, with those 3 candidates, where would you like them to come up here? Or you'll go down? Right, if those 3 candidates would like to stand up at that desk there, please. Well, those 3 co-opted councillors, yeah.
What time is it?
8:15.
Works different to an iPhone. So 8:15.
8:15.
Standing orders suspended.
Yeah.
What we'll do is,
Can I, is there anything preventing me to go up and congratulate them?
no, by all means, yeah. What we'll do tomorrow is we'll send out an email to the 4 other applicants just to reach out and
Yes, yes, and thank them for their
Yeah.
inquiry. Right.
So if you can
Right,
reinstate standing orders.
councillors, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the public, I'd like to reinstate standing orders, which will mean the meeting will now continue. And thank you for your perseverance for that time. I'll now move on to item number 97, which is Chairman's report. I haven't really got a lot to add more than there's on the council website. You'll see the latest information on the devolution of where we are, but more appropriately where West Sussex is there. The local government reorganisation survey and information booklet that we've produced, which is here, and that's been printed and delivered to us this week, and this will be distributed to all Southwater households and published to the websites as well. All residents are encouraged to complete and provide their views, and the results will be considered by the Devolution and Local Government Reorganisation Working Group. That is something I think we're ahead of the pack on in terms of getting our communities informed so that they can actually be part of how the shape of local government looks. The other item that I'd like to mention, which is on the agenda, which is the gold accreditation, and I'd like to welcome Trevor Lego, who is...
Can you do it under the item 99?
I will, yes, I will. Who is with us this evening, and that follows on in item number 99. So I've nothing further to report. I'll now move on to the Executive Officer's report.
Just some updates to provide. Horsham Golf and Fitness appeal decision relating to the approval of 800 dwellings in Southwater. A more detailed update was provided at the Planning Committee of 3rd of September 2025, and we've had updates published to our website. So if you're interested, please see the meeting minutes or the website for more information. Likewise, with Southwater Neighbourhood Plan, we provided a detailed update at the last Planning Committee on the 3rd of September. See our minutes for more information. I will be looking to schedule the first meeting of the Neighbourhood Plan Consultation Group. This will be the first one since around October 2023, after the Neighbourhood Plan was submitted to HDC for comment. Once I've received some further information from HDC we're waiting on, I will be looking to arrange that meeting. And just thanks to District Councillor Peter von der Berg for helping arrange that meeting with HDC. The National Joint Council National Award decision was recently published to apply an increase of 3.2% to staff salaries and backdated to 1st of April 2025. Following the HR Committee meeting of 3rd of September, this has been actioned accordingly as per the committee's decision and will show in September's accounts. Interim internal audit is booked for 8th of October with Mulberry Local Authority Services Limited. The Worthing Road speed limit reduction from 40 mile an hour to 30 mile an hour survey results have just been published to our website, I believe, or will be published to our website. Just to let you know that we've also had confirmation from the 3 schools in the centre of Southwater confirming their support, and County Councillor Nigel Jupp has also provided his support. The next steps will be for us to submit a TRO application to West Sussex County Council. More updates will be provided at the Planning Committee. Grass cutting and grounds maintenance survey results have also been collated and they'll be published to the website either today or in the next couple of days. This has assisted in providing the data to finalise the invitation to tender documentation for the new grounds maintenance grass cutting contract for the period to cover 1st of April 2026 to 31st of March 2029. This will be published via the Government Public Works Contracts website at the start of October or around that date. Just to provide an update on FOI requests. Since January 2025, the Council has received 29 FOI requests, some containing multiple aspects to them, which have incurred over 96 hours of officer time to comply within the statutory timeframes. Relevant committees have been advised accordingly or will be advised further due to the impact on resources and may require further budgetary provisions. And lastly, just an update on work and meetings with the football clubs. If I pass over to the Assistant Executive Officer.
We held our first meeting with Southwater Football Club and Southwater Royals to discuss the issues with the insufficient football pitch availability in the area. The meeting was led by the officers of the council and allowed both teams to talk openly about their current situations and provide details on how they are currently meeting the needs of their teams. The current shortfall was discussed for both match and training availability. It was also raised about the shortfall that Southwater Cricket Club are also facing, and they have been contacted for further clarification. We are continuing to work with both clubs to determine alternative availability and investigating opportunities, and the next meeting will be scheduled for October.
Right, thank you for that update. We now move on to the item. Councillor Vickers, yes.
Chairman, I just want to say that Horsham District Council, as the Executive Officer knows, Planning Committee last night agreed with the officer's recommendation on the Southwater Football Club to refuse the application for various reasons. But I know that the district councillors and the parish council are going to try and do what they can to help with the provision for football. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We'll now move on to item 99, which is the local council award scheme, the gold accreditation. I've explained to you in the past, last meetings, that we're the first parish council in Sussex to achieve this award. This is really recognising a council that achieves so much. This is showing the ability of the council to run correctly, to make sure it engages with the community. It's a really high bar to achieve this, and it really is thanks to our team and our executive officer who have worked really hard to attain this award. And as I said, we've got Trevor Lego here, who's the Chief Executive of the Sussex Association of Local Councils, who is here to make that award. But I think we've also got to recognise that to get there, we've been dependent on that association to help us understand what we need to get, what we need to change. So they've been part of assisting us achieving this recognition. So, Trevor, would you, I understand you've got a certificate?
I have indeed, Chairman.
Thank you.
I'll come up to that end if I may. I think to put your award into context, you need to understand there are about 9,500 town and parish councils in this country. And only about 5 or 6 gold awards are awarded each year. So, and it's done, as the Chairman's just indicated, to recognise the achievements that are made in a given council. And it was brought in to create a structure to which all councils could aspire, and the bronze, silver and gold. And I quote from now the National Association, it recognises it's a pinnacle of best practice with exemplary leadership and forward thinking. And I would add to that, making effective use of the powers granted to a council by Parliament. And you've achieved something which many others will aspire to but never get there. So you're ahead of the game, and the Chairman this evening has drawn attention to this leaflet. Now, I've got 250 councils across East and West Sussex, and I've said to all the clerks out there at the moment, look at what you've got in your community. Who owns it, who runs it, and would you want it? You're ahead of the game because you're asking your community that. And I should be using this because tomorrow night I've got the West Sussex Chairman's Forum, because we run forums for clerks and chairmen, online ones, every couple of months. And I should be drawing attention to Southwater's initiative to make sure that others try and pick that up, because at the moment, across all the district councils in East and West Sussex, asset transfer is the key issue. And some are playing very hard to get, and others are more relaxed about it. So we need to get everybody up to the same level. So well done for this, Chairman. And I'm, on behalf of the West Sussex Association of Local Councils, may I present you with this shield.
Thank you very much, Trevor.
Pleasure.
This, and I know this is really down to Justin and his team, because this has involved them in a lot of work, and we've supported them on that journey, as they call it, but it was driven by Justin's want to get the council to run as best as it possibly can. So well done, Justin, because you deserve to be recognised. Thank you. Right, thank you very much, Trevor.
Thank you, Chairman.
We'll now move on to the next item.
Chairman, can we record our grateful thanks to Justin and the staff in the minutes, please?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, we certainly will. Right, now I'm mindful of the time, so we'll be moving on now to item number 100 on the agenda, which is correspondence.
One correspondence item I expect County Councillor Nigel Jupp may be going into. Just to make you aware, we received an update from West Sussex County Council to confirm that the business case for local government reorganisation in West Sussex has been completed, and you can find this on the Shaping West Sussex website if you want to find more information.
Thank you for that. We'll now move on to item number 101, which is meeting minutes. The first is for the full council meeting of the 16th of July 2025 to receive and approve those. Can I have a proposer? You've all read those, you've all read and had access of that. All those that were at that meeting can vote. So we have a proposer of Councillor Knott, seconded by Councillor Watkins. All those in favour of those meeting minutes being correct? Councillor, right, okay. So that was, have you counted?
3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes? Any against? Any abstentions? No. Thank you for that.
Mr. Chairman, before you carry on, can you just speak with the 3 newly co-opted councillors, just so
they're aware of their...
Oh, okay.
You have.
Oh,
good.
right.
That's fine. Okay. We'll now move on to item B of that, and that is matters arising from those minutes. Were there any matters arising from those minutes? No, no matters arising. Thank you. We'll now move on swiftly to the County Council reports. Councillor Jupp, would you like to tell us some good news as you always do?
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, councillors. May I first off offer my congratulations to Southwater Parish Council on its award this evening, which is excellent news, and I'm sure all the acclaim that it will receive are well received. May I also congratulate the 3 new parish councillors who start their journey with the parish council. Judged by this award, you've got a high standard to keep up. Anyway, can I just, time does go on, and I've got to go to Nuthurst Parish Council later on for their meeting. Can I just deal with a few issues which affect both the county and also, in particular, Southwater? I think one of the issues that has been keenly discussed over the last few years is the question of secondary school places in Horsham. And one of your new parish councillors spoke on that particular issue in her discussion with you this evening. So I'm pleased to confirm, as the Executive Officer would have told you, that West Sussex County Council, after due deliberation and consultation, has decided that Millais School will become coeducational as from September 2026. This decision now allows parents of the whole district, including Southwater, to add a fourth coeducational school in Horsham to their preferred schools when they start to submit their applications or preferences. And that process for Year 7 children will be taking place from, I think, quite soon, if it hasn't started in the last week, and running up to the end of October. And secondary school places will be announced, I think, on the 1st of March next year. As I may have commented before, there are currently 1,065 secondary school places in Horsham, and there will be going to school around about 965 secondary school children going to those schools. So we have around about 100 spare places. Now that does include a number of, the number of children at our schools does include a number at Millais, girls at Millais, who have come from out of catchment. They're not Horsham girls. I haven't got the number with me now, but there have been girls, families of girls who have preferred a girls-only education for whatever reason, and they have come from areas not within the Horsham catchment area. So that 100 spare places may actually be a little larger. So there is some room for expansion, but we do know that Horsham is being built on, and even though birth rates have been falling, which has been quite an important issue for planning school places, and I mentioned the number of children attending or starting at the infant school this autumn is down considerably from 3 or 4 years ago. So these are things all to be considered. Can I then take you on very quickly to Cripplegate Lane? I saw a wonderful photograph on Facebook not so long ago with your chairman out there with his wellies and spade, yet again clearing away debris that accumulated on that particular drain by the side of the country park. I'm afraid to say that I've got officers or highways officers away this week, but I was waiting confirmation, so I spoke to them 10 days ago, and it was due to be jetted, and I don't know whether it's been jetted before we meet or afterwards. It was due to be jetted between the 1st of August and the 30th of September. But clearly those rather heavy storms that we experienced over the last few weeks caused flooding in Cripplegate Lane because of all the build-up. But you were not alone. There was lots of flooding all over the county, you may have seen on the local news. So you weren't picked out for that particular thing. Your executive officer commented about the progress on a TRO to look at reducing the speed limit from 40 to 30 on 2 sections of Worthing Road. And I'm pleased that we had a meeting, Chairman, which you and the executive officer attended with highways officers on the 29th of July, gave us some advice on that. Well done for doing your consultation. When the application goes in, I've already written my support. If it is, the application will be assessed on a number of issues, accidents, average speed, all sorts of things. If the assessment is successful, is positive, it may take probably between 9 and 18 months for it to become effective. There are various issues to need to be done. But hopefully that will be the case, because I judge from your comments that there has been widespread support for this particular action. And quite rightly so, with the number of new houses that have been built on both sections of the road. Could I then take you very quickly on to Worthing Road and Church Lane? This is a long-standing proposal to reconfigure some of the parking arrangements, bus stops and what have you, Chairman, which we've been at meetings to with the County Council. We haven't heard anything further back from Berkeley Homes, who are the instigator of all this work, and they're funding it. So I haven't got anything further to report on that, but I did chase it up earlier in the week. You spoke about local government reform or reorganisation, and thank you for doing your note, which is all about asset transfer. A considerable document has just been issued by West Sussex County Council on their looking at the various items on this journey and the various matters to be considered. It runs to about 180 pages. It will be discussed at a County Council meeting next week. The recommendation that the West Sussex County Council's business case has come up with is one unitary for the whole of the West Sussex. I understand that the other districts and borough councils, the 7 districts and borough councils within West Sussex, have been doing their own reports, and I'm sure they'll be publishing those shortly. The government will decide how many unitaries there will be in this country. The county council and the districts and borough councils have to submit their proposals by, I think, just before the end of the month, and we will look forward to hearing probably in the new year what their decisions will be. It is interesting that the driver for this local government reform, the previous Deputy Prime Minister and Minister, no longer holds that position, and neither does her Minister, Jim McMahon, who was dealing with this particular issue and with whom West Sussex County Council officers dealt a lot with. Both of those two drivers have left government. It'll be interesting to see whether or not there are any changes as we move forward with the new minister in place. It is a lengthy document. It is on the website. If you really having trouble sleeping, I recommend you reading it. The other point is West Sussex started a consultation yesterday with regard to ways in which improvements could be carried out to the A24 between Worthing and Dorking. You will have seen it's on the website, and I believe I spoke yesterday with the executive officer. So they're looking for comments on that, ways in which we can reduce congestion, improve safety, enhance walking and cycling, all those sort of things. The A24, as you know, if anybody's travelled on it, is a very busy road and quite important to the economic well-being of this county. And it does have its problems when it has crashes or what have you, so there you go. There was one other point on the A24. There was a dip on the northbound carriageway, possibly over the Downs Link. And I know it was reported, and I spoke to the officers. Some patching work was going to be done. I haven't had a chance since I saw the officers to actually travel on there. You may know whether or not the work's been done or not. But there's some temporary work going to be carried out. May have to be, see how that goes, but it may have to be more serious remedial work if it's to do with the structure of the bridge over the Downs Link.
As of yesterday on that, it had not had any remedial work carried out on it. Okay. This will be probably the 3rd or 4th time that this has been, a repair has been tried to be effected, and it hasn't been successful. It lasts for a couple of years, and then it's back to square one again. So I think the team looking at that need to bear that in mind. Councillor Cole.
Strangely enough, we've got dips now because they've got
Councillor Cole, could you just put your microphone on, please?
dips southbound from Pollard's Hill roundabout. Just as you come off the roundabout, there are 2 quite significant dips there. Only appeared over recent weeks. But I assume it's all to do with the weather we had during the summer, Richard. But
well, Southwater is on clay, yes. And there's a lot of contraction and cracks in houses over this last summer. It may be that. But thank you for very much. I'll report it to Highways tomorrow.
I think it's on the old road, the original road, was the southbound bit, I think, wasn't it? And the northbound was built as a when it was dual. No. So that is a very old road.
Okay. Right.
That particular one we spoke earlier about is really quite nasty.
It is, yes. Yeah.
Really quite nasty.
Now, I'm mindful of the time, but we've one question from Councillor Knott.
You may not know this, but do you know whether there's any plans for Millais to change their uniform to make it... Because obviously at the minute it's actually quite an expensive uniform, so I'm wondering whether there's, or you wouldn't know that at the minute, whether they're changing.
That would be entirely for the school governors to determine, nothing to do with West Sussex County Council.
Right. Well, look.
Can I ask one quick? Sorry. Church Lane and is it Keswick Avenue? The new.
I've
yeah.
noticed how bad the cut through is being used, and it's an accident waiting to happen. I think where the people now are using it to get down to the schools rather than coming down Church Lane and doing a left down the Worthing Road, I think because parking's better. I just think it might be that there's been some complaints coming in, but I think it's got to be speed bump. It's terrible at the moment, and I've noticed it in the mornings. Sort of going, I've been going to work late. Well,
It's a very
so it's a bit
square
later.
junctions, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just you can just see them
so-
shooting down that the new part of the road. I just didn't know if there'd been any complaints. That's all.
I haven't heard of any accidents on that particular road. I mean, if anybody has done, that would be quite an important piece of evidence if there was anything to be done there. So if you've got any evidence, please channel it through the executive officer to me.
Yes.
And we'll go to the officers. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Nigel, for that update. I can assure you that there's nothing wrong with the drains down at Cripplegate Lane. It was just the wrong sort of leaves.
May I just make a comment on Nigel mentioned about the ministerial restructure. The signature on that Gold Award is Keith Stevens. Keith is my East Sussex chairman, but he's also the chairman of our National Association, and was meeting every couple of weeks with Jim McMahon, and we were using that as a back channel to get confirmation of situations. For instance, it was being put about that councils were going to be capped. Now, we were in the midst of speculation and conjecture. So I said to Keith, next time you see Jim McMahon, can you ask him if towns and parishes is going to be capped? And the answer was unequivocally no, they're not. But there was duff information being peddled about parts of West Sussex that was causing some concern amongst parishes in Arran in particular. So we no longer have that back channel, because up until last Friday, Keith hadn't met the new minister.
Yes. It's all change, I think. Yes.
I just
Right.
thought
No, thank you for that, Trevor, and thank you for that, Nigel. Yes. We'll now move on to our item number 103, which is our district council report, and Councillor Alex Jeffries is here to deliver his condensed version. Thank you.
Because of time, I have circulated my report to the executive officer, so hopefully if there's any other questions, they can be raised outside of the meeting if councillors have any questions on those. I'll give you the highlights. I'll start off as the executive officer had partly covered in his report the Horsham Golf and Fitness application. Horsham District Council have initiated a judicial review of the inspector's decision to overturn the refusal. This was done after a lot of lobbying by myself and other councillors in order for the Cabinet to take that decision, and we're delighted that they have. Obviously, that process has just started, so there's not much in the way of update I can give you at the moment, but when updates do come in, I will keep the council informed on progress on that front. Moving swiftly on to the Horsham Local Plan. Back in July, the Communities and Places Policy and Scrutiny Committee debated the recommendation to Cabinet to formally withdraw Horsham's draft local plan. However, during the course of that meeting, questions were raised as to whether it was worth a further attempt to persuade the inspector to reconsider what many felt was a premature judgment without giving ample opportunity for the council and the third parties to give evidence which may have addressed the inspector's early concerns that he'd raised. It was agreed at the end of that meeting to recommend that officers write to the inspector one last time for a reconsideration of his judgment. That letter was sent off, and the council have since had a response from the inspector, who has requested further evidence for his consideration. So officers are at the moment in the process of preparing that information that the inspector has requested, and the letter the council had sent and the inspector's response is already available on the council's website, and that additional evidence, once submitted, will also be publicly available in due course. It's key to highlight that one of the key changes is that Mid Sussex and Crawley Borough Council have offered to come forward to present supporting evidence that the council has adhered to its duty to cooperate, which was a key area that the inspector had deemed the council had failed on. However, Crawley Borough Council, for example, had passed on duty to cooperate, so the two can't be mutually exclusive. They either both have failed in duty to cooperate or not. So that the inspector is open to that evidence. So once there's a further update there, I will let you know. It's important that we get a local plan through if possible. I understand the contentions around development. Some people don't want any development at all. The reality is, if you're going to control development, it has to be done through the plan process. That is the process at the moment and the only mechanism that district councils have in order to have any control over developments. And at the moment, as the council will know, we currently have a 1-year land supply, and the tilted balance in many applications is applying at the moment, which is eroding our defences when it comes to speculative applications. So I will provide an update as soon as there's further information available on that. If I move swiftly on to an update on local government reorganisation, I'm aware that Councillor Jupp and Trevor Lego have already briefly covered that. From a HDC perspective, the business case and the model in which the HDC are to support is going to be discussed at an upcoming full council meeting on the 26th of September. At the moment, there are currently 3 models on the table, including that of a single unitary, which, as you would have heard, West Sussex County Council are looking to support, and the 2 unitary model as well. The recommendation to Cabinet, which is going to be discussed at that meeting, as it stands, is for HDC to support the 2 unitary model, comprising of Crawley, Horsham and Mid Sussex, and what the other unitary with Ada, Arran, Chichester and Worthing. So this will be debated on the 24th, after which there'll be a Cabinet meeting held directly afterwards to make that final decision before formal submission at the end of the month. Just to take you swiftly on to the recent application DC 25-0102, the erection of 82 homes land at Campsfield, Linfield Close. This was an outline application which I know the parish council also made representations on. Those who followed the meeting would know, as it was an outline application, the elements of the application that we could actually scrutinise was limited as a result until a fuller reserved matters application comes forward. However, I will be still liaising with planning officers moving forward on this because, as you'll know, Councillor Vickers went for a deferral based on concerns raised about the cumulative effect of traffic, for example, and more information that was required from West Sussex Highways. I am still of the view, and I made the point in my planning committee statement, that I don't think the tilted balance should apply with this application specifically because of issues with the noise assessment and other matters. So I will be liaising with the planning officer, and I will update the council in due course. Just on that, just to add as well, I know Councillor Jupp has just touched upon the school places, and as we know, Malay is going co-educational. On development more widely, I wrote to the Cabinet member Jackie Russell on the 25th of August regarding this in light of the speculative applications that Southwater has been receiving, including Horsham Golf and Fitness Village and the Linfield Close application, essentially requesting that West Sussex County Council work more closely with the local district authorities in order to ensure adequate school places. Since then, Councillor Russell has come back to me and she has confirmed that moving forward, depending on the outcome of the Horsham Golf and Fitness judicial review, if that judicial review isn't successful, because it's not 100%, that moving forward, the County Council will be objecting to all planning applications in the area due to a lack of school places. So I have got that. However, I still think more needs to be done, and hopefully officers from county and district can continue to work closely together. And as I'm doing the condensed version, Chairman, I will go on to the last item, which was just to highlight that the sunset sessions that were held in the country park were a roaring success. I think that's safe to say. They were received brilliantly by the community. There was no reports of trouble. And I just think it was using the jewel of the crown that we have in Southwater of the country park. I think just bringing the community together like that, in enjoying the sun with some music, it doesn't take a lot. And I think it's just a lovely thing to have. So this was on a trial basis this summer. And because of the success of them, we'll look to make them a more permanent feature moving forward. So, yes, that's my condensed version.
Oh, sorry, wrong button. I didn't mean to do that. Alex, thank you very much for that update. As you will know, councillors, you will be sent that update, and it will be published. Most importantly is that the information for all of this information will be held on websites for the parish council, district council and the county council. So it is important for residents and for people, if they wish to access this information, it is there. I thank you for taking the time. I'm sorry, I'm not going to allow questions because
I won't complain, Chair.
I've got a few things that I must get done in this meeting. So thank you very much, Alex.
Mr. Chairman, we're coming up to our limit.
Yes.
May I request, subject to the council's approval, to extend the meeting by 5 minutes, just so we can get through some items I need done before the internal audit.
Right, I'd like to, we've only got a few minutes left here, but I would like council's approval to extend our standing orders of 2 hours by another 10 minutes maximum, that we would finish at 9:10, as we have some item on the agenda that we do really need to approve. Can I have a proposer for that? A proposer of Councillor Cole, seconded by Councillor Watkins. All those in favour? And that was unanimous. Thank you very much, councillors, for your understanding. We'll now move on to item 104, which is accounts. You've all received those accounts. The first part of that is the balanced and earmarked reserves. Can I have a proposer and a seconder for that? A proposer of Councillor Knott and Councillor Vickers has seconded. All in favour?
Favour.
Yeah, favour. Yes, it's the time. And that was unanimous. Thank you. The second part of that is the detailed income and expenditure of the months June and July. Can I have a proposer? The proposer is Councillor Cole, and a seconder, Councillor Knott. All those in favour? Yes, and again, that was unanimous. Item 3 of that, and that is the bank reconciliation of the 31st of July 2025. Can I have a proposer?
Just for the meeting minutes, I can confirm that both Councillor Brown and Councillor Knott have verified the bank account reconciliation as non-signatories.
Thank you for that. So can I have a proposer and a seconder, please? Councillor Vickers proposed and Councillor Knott has seconded. All those in favour? And again, yeah, that's unanimous. Thank you for that, councillors. We'll now move on to item 105, which is a payment schedule, to consider and approve the payment schedule of the 17th of September, balance of £195,343.32 for approval. Can I have a proposer for that, please? Councillor Haddon has proposed, and Councillor Cole has seconded. All those in favour? That was unanimous. Thank you for that. We'll now move on to item 106, and that's the notice of conclusion of audit, to receive the auditor's report, which is in the pack, and the announcement of the approval of the notice of conclusion. So I need a vote on this, please. So I need a proposer to acknowledge that we've received this external auditor's report. Councillor Cole has proposed and Councillor Vickers has seconded. All those in favour? And again, that was a unanimous vote. Thank you for that. We'll now move on to the item 10.
You can clear of 107 because there's no updates under any of those 4 items.
Right, okay, thank you for that. I'll just confirm that there are no updates under 107, which is the committees. There are no minutes or recommendations from those to be approved. We'll now move on to 108, which is the Beeson House first floor youth club area to receive and report and consider.
Mr. Chairman, it's quite an important item. I don't believe 9 minutes is enough time to consider that. I think the rest of the items on the agenda, the key items for me were to get the items approved up to the notice of conclusion of audit for our interim internal audit. But I think the rest of the items on the agenda do need enough time. I don't think 8 minutes is enough time. So they will need to be deferred to the next full council meeting. If there are any items that could be covered by the Finance and General Purpose Committee under the scheme of delegation, then I will look to put those on the agenda.
Put those on the agenda. Yes, I agree with you in that certainly 108 is going to take some discussion for us to reach a conclusion on. And I think, to be fair to councillors, that we can defer the remaining items. Yes?
As long as councillors are aware that deferring items, in 108 in particular, will add delays to the process.
Yes. I think it's too complicated for us to discuss and come up with an agreement in the time permitting. We've only got 5 minutes, and I think it's far more complicated than that. And it also, to be fair, we need some time to actually discuss it, and I think it would be wrong if we were to rush it through without any discussion. Right, on that note, I think I'll conclude the meeting.
So all items deferred to the next meeting?
The unachieved items will be deferred to the next full council meeting or the next F&GP meeting, but that will be the executive officer will decide on that. I'll end on the last item, which is 112.
Is there any policies that we need to do tonight? They can be deferred, that's fine.
So of the policies on the list, they're all modifications to currently adopted policies. They don't materially change how we operate as a council for now. Most of them improve or add clarity.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to check in case it meant that we had to call, have another meeting
otherwise
just for something.
But
that's fine if we can defer them all. That's brilliant.
If they can be deferred.
The majority of those policies can only be approved by full council, but I'll cross-check. And the business plan item doesn't preclude us from continuing the forecasting and projections that we'll be doing for the ensuing financial year. So as long as it's dealt with in November, we should be fine.
Right, well, look, I'll move on to the last item, which is 112, which is the date of the next meeting, which is the 19th of November 2025. I thank councillors in attendance again for your time and patience this evening, and I take this opportunity to reiterate my welcome to our 3 new co-opted councillors. We look forward to seeing you in future meetings. Thank you. And this meeting has now ended.
At 9:07.